Tonight, knifed in the neck, Perth's most notorious bikie stabbed at a Kings Park concert. The City of Perth and the state government continue their fight over the location of a critical women's shelter. Beachgoers forced out of the water as a whale swims dangerously close to shore. Plus, treating death, a tree blown apart by lightning. In one of the closest calls you'll ever see. An injured Kyrgios uses OnlyFans to announce he's out of the Australian Open. And the new data on the health of our kids prompting an urgent school holiday warning.
This is 9 News Perth with Tracy Vo.
Good evening. A brawl has turned bloody as bikie gang members clashed at a Kings Park concert. Notorious former Hells Angels boss Dane Brakovic, the target of the attack by members of his old club.
A Kings Park concert ends in violence. Cops comb the city centre scene. The victim, ex-bikie boss Dane Brakovic, stabbed in the neck shortly before 10 o'clock last night. A doctor attending the Ministry of Sound classical event stepping in to save his life.
But for his actions, it's highly likely that that person would have died.
Known for being wrapped in tattoos, today the 44-year-old was wrapped in bandages, leaving Royal Perth Hospital under police guard.
We do have ongoing concerns for his safety. Any person who is considering assaulting the victim should reconsider that, because we are putting a number of measures in place to ensure his security.
Police say their suspects were seen leaving the park on motorbikes, believed to be members of Brakovic's former club, the Hells Angels.
This is a targeted attack and the general public has no cause for concern.
Witnessing the brawl at the concert, Premier Roger Cook saying in a statement it's shocking to think that others leaving Kings Park that night came so close to violence. A second concert gets underway tonight. People attending this gig are being assured there's no ongoing threat, but extra officers will be on hand for support.
We will not tolerate any violence spilling into our streets where there is significant risk to their actions on impacting the community and the surrounding people.
Kelly Jo Williams, 9 News.
Pressure is mounting to find a new safe night space to help vulnerable women, but there's a clash on where $3.1 million in funding should be spent. Meanwhile, those in desperate need of support are being left without a roof over their heads.
Collateral damage in a political fallout.
I'm disappointed that we are at this stage where the women that we had been working with are on the street.
The City of Perth and the state government say they have the solution, but they can't agree on one. Basil Zemplis backing Uniting WA's Tramby as the next safe night space location. Housing Minister John Carey wants Rua's James Street site to open during the night.
One of them is in James Street, on our premier entertainment strip on the main street in Northbridge, with a hotel across the road, a pub down the road and residents all around. The other is in a nondescript pocket of Northbridge. Common sense would tell you which of those two sites is a better site.
Minister Carey is calling on the City of Perth to reopen the closed service at the Rod Evans Centre or fast-track Rua's application for overnight use of their current daytime facility.
To extend that service in that site to a 24-hour service, I believe, would be further problematic. It would be a longer process to get to the point that a decision could even be made.
Both hubs will have the same 30-bed capacity and are flagged to be ready by Christmas.
They have the capacity, they have the expertise, they have the space, and they have the willingness to be able to replicate the service.
At the moment, we have funding on the table, we have a site ready to go, and we would encourage all parties, the city and the state government, to talk about how this could actually work.
A week on from the closure of the safe night space here at the Rod Evans Community Centre, women are being forced to seek a safe haven elsewhere while waiting for politics to play out.
For a woman experiencing homelessness and the risk of assault, I suspect her answer would be pretty clear about what should be done.
Rachel Clifford, 9 News.
Beachgoers in Perth South have been forced out of the water with fears of a whale becoming beached. Live to Genevieve Lamond at Leighton Beach Den, the mammal was driven to shallow waters by jet skis.
The 15-metre-long humpback whale was first spotted by abalone boats near Port Beach around 10:30 this morning. Later in the day, witnesses say it was driven closer to the shore by jet skis and boats, where it became dangerously close to stranding on the shore. Onlookers entering the water, even touching the whale, before they were moved on by rangers.
Stop thinking about yourself, think of the animal. Go!
Like, what I saw was people touching the whale, trying to climb up on the whale, which was so disappointing because they're such beautiful creatures. And if it weren't for these guys like paddling out, trying to get everyone out of the water, as soon as everyone got out of the water, it started going off and doing its own business and going out into the deep.
Tracy, the whale eventually moved on safely into deep waters, but tonight a reminder from authorities: interfering with the natural path of a whale holds a maximum penalty of $500,000.
All right, Jen, thanks for the update. A rush of rescues by Surf Lifesaving saw someone pulled from the water every 3 minutes on the first abalone fishing day of the season. Hundreds rushed to the beach at Meadham's Pool this morning, some wearing just jeans and thongs, despite warnings of dangerous weather conditions. 20 people were rescued and 10 received first aid during the hour-long session. Labor is preparing to announce its highly anticipated migration plan, aimed at reducing arrivals to ease pressures on housing, infrastructure and the cost of living. The government's plan expected to focus on international students, targeting those rorting the system.
A Saturday smile after a long week in Parliament.
Good morning.
Prime Minister gearing up for good news in the week ahead.
The new migration strategy we'll announce this week will bring migration back to sustainable levels.
Down from a predicted peak of more than 500,000 people in the last 12 months, the highest in history, putting pressure on infrastructure, housing and the cost of living.
The horse has already bolted. Not only can he not catch it, he can't even find it.
Pre-pandemic, net overseas migration boosted the population by almost 240,000 people. Mid-pandemic, those numbers slowed, then reversed due to border closures. Post-pandemic, a catch-up, but one that's far exceeded expectations.
The numbers are unprecedented. We've never had net migration at these sorts of levels.
The majority here to learn.
60% of the net migration is students.
But not all are genuine.
In some cases, the system is being abused.
Labor's strategy set to include a further crackdown on dodgy education providers, enhanced English-speaking requirements for foreign students and the scrapping of student visas for some low-end, short courses outside the university sector.
We want to make sure that our population is sustainable.
And while the Prime Minister stopped short of giving sustainable and exact number, his government's intergenerational report assumed a figure of 235,000 people per year, and 9 News understands this new strategy will aim for the same.
Whenever net migration gets to about 300,000, problems start to occur. Fundamentally, no one's ready for 300,000 and can't cope.
When you've got a rental crisis, you've got a housing crisis, people can't see the GP. It's a mess of the government's own making.
Reece D'Alessandro, 9 News.
The US has vetoed a ceasefire plea at the United Nations, insisting it would not make a difference on the ground in Gaza. But there is some hope the fighting could ease in the new year.
Inside Gaza, gunfire from Israeli soldiers is relentless. This is a school. Israel's military says it has tunnels used by Hamas, while more airstrikes flattened more buildings. And in Khan Yunis, southern Gaza, the new front. A paramedic holds a lifeless baby. It's claimed here 15 members of one family died. And the humanitarian crisis is growing.
About half of the population in Gaza are starving.
The Palestinian Authority claims more than 17,000 Palestinians have died, including 7,000 children and 43,000 people injured. Almost 2 million are now displaced. Lighting candles for Hanukkah. Israel's defence minister said Israel has light, Gaza darkness.
There is a high risk of the total collapse of the humanitarian support system in Gaza, which would have devastating consequences.
At the UN, the United Arab Emirates pushed for a ceasefire. It was backed by 13 of 15 Security Council members. The US vetoed, arguing the draft motion failed to criticise Hamas for the October 7 attack and would have had little impact on the ground.
We do not support calls for an immediate ceasefire. This would only plant the seeds for the next war, because Hamas has no desire to see a durable peace.
That peace, the US insists, involves a two-state solution.
The true path to ensure peace is only through supporting Israel's mission.
This war is part of the assault to end the Palestinian people.
In Washington, D.C., the man who's pushed the diplomatic mission through the Middle East met Arab leaders. There are now reports Israel's so-called high-intensity phase of this war could end in another 6 to 8 weeks. The US says it is also concerned about the humanitarian situation in Gaza and wants more aid in. So today sent more supplies to Egypt. Beyond that border in Gaza, the fear now is from not just the horrors of war, but also famine and disease that could mean more lives lost. In the United States, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
Panic buying is underway and school holiday plans have descended into chaos as Cyclone Jasper edges closer to North Queensland. It's expected to weaken tonight but re-intensify as it crosses the coast, with weather experts now painting a clearer picture of the system's likely warpath.
A sign fear is setting in across the north. Townsville and Cairns supermarket shelves stripped bare.
Can you believe that? People are going crazy in Cairns.
Residents urged not to panic buy but to get prepared. Cyclone Jasper's tonight a Category 4 system sitting about 1,100 kilometres off the coastline.
It is expected to weaken into a Category 3 system during Saturday evening and continue to weaken potentially into a Category 2 system during late Sunday or during Monday.
It's slow moving and tipped to make landfall on Wednesday when it could roar back to life.
There is the potential though it could re-intensify back into a severe tropical cyclone, which is Category 3 or higher, just before it crosses the coast.
The high-risk region remains between Cape Melville and Townsville, but there's more confidence tonight that communities north of Cairns will be hardest hit.
We've got plans to move up to far north region. They've got plans to come down to us, depending on where that cyclone ends up.
Forecast king tides are heightening concerns. They're predicted from Tuesday to Sunday next week, and combined with Jasper may pack a punch.
If any cyclone crosses at a high tide, especially a king tide, it means we can get water inundation further inland.
The weather system's throwing school holiday travel plans into disarray, with cruise itineraries being revised. Several ships that departed Brisbane earlier this week, bound for the tropics, will now call in Sydney. The Bureau of Meteorology's today evacuated 4 of its own staff from remote Willis Island. The weather station lies in the midst of the danger zone. Avi Guerin, 9 News.
Meanwhile, tens of thousands of people have flocked to Bondi Beach in Sydney today, with temperatures in some parts of New South Wales topping 43 degrees, the city's hottest December day in nearly 2 decades. At least 90 bushfires are burning across the state, fuelled by hot northwesterly winds. Nick Kyrgios says he has no choice but to make the heartbreaking decision to withdraw from the Australian Open due to a wrist injury, and as only Nick could do, using OnlyFans to broadcast the announcement.
He always does it his way. Still, only Nick could use OnlyFans for an announcement like this.
This is a very disappointing time for me, but yeah, I won't be able to compete at the 2024 Australian Open.
A long-running struggle with injury consigning Kyrgios to the stands for a second straight Aussie summer.
Had that knee surgery and came back a little bit too soon and set me back a little bit. Then obviously had some wrist issues, heartbreaking. You know, I've had so many amazing memories there.
He managed just one official match for the entire year. Still, the showstopper is determined to come back with a bang.
I just want to really get back to playing at the top of my game and doing it right, and I need a little bit more time. You know, I was so close to winning a Grand Slam. I want to make sure that my body's going to have the time it needs to come back.
But at 28 years old and with no timeline for his return, questions will be asked whether he'll ever reach the same heights. The absence of one of the AO's headline acts leaves a huge hole, particularly on the Aussie front. Organisers will now hope Alex de Minaur and Isla Tomljanovic can fly the flag deep into the tournament. So while he won't be able to hit the court at Melbourne Park, he's set to make as much noise as ever.
I still will be around commentating matches, being around. I've got some special things planned.
Braden Ingram, 9 News.
Car stolen in a brazen burglary in Dalkeith, how you can help police after the break. Plus, a tree blown apart by lightning seconds after a driver makes an incredible escape. The young royals out in force posting Christmas cards to kids in need. And a first look at the reconstruction inside Notredam 5 years after it was destroyed by fire. Police are calling for the public's help over a burglary in Dalkeith. Officers say this silver Toyota Land Cruiser with a trailer and a red BMW convertible was stolen from a house on Beatrice Road. It happened between 8 p.m. on Friday, November 17 and 4 a.m. on Saturday, November 18. Anyone with information should contact Crime Stoppers. A New South Wales man forgot his wallet, but it might have saved his life. 9 News can show you the moment the man's frustration turned to relief as he dodged death when lightning struck a tree next to his car.
With a storm hovering above Mudgee, Simon Somervale is in a rush. As he loads his car, he realises he's forgotten his wallet. Good thing too. Watch again as a lightning strike pulverises a nearby tree. The gum explodes, sending branches crashing down onto his car.
I heard this crack and like an explosion, like nothing I'd heard or felt before.
He returns in disbelief, realising he's just dodged a disaster.
I don't know if I would have got more injured having been in the car or standing next to the car hopping in, but either way it wouldn't have been pretty.
His car, a Hyundai Getz, is injured. In fact, it's a write-off. The pictures highlight how close he came to danger. Simon is just happy he forgot his wallet.
Sometimes it's okay to forget things.
Alex Sankey, 9 News.
The author of a book that reignited a race row in the royal family has admitted to naming individuals in an early edition. Omid Scobie, who wrote Endgame, says an uncleared version was sent to a Dutch publisher for translation, with the final version to be updated. The Dutch edition named King Charles and the Princess of Wales as those who allegedly discuss the skin colour of Prince Harry and Meghan's child. Meanwhile, it was all smiles for the Prince and Princess of Wales, arriving at carols at Westminster Abbey with their children last night. George, Charlotte and Louis dropping off Christmas cards which will be sent to children struggling this festive season. US President Joe Biden has dodged questions over the raft of new charges faced by his son Hunter. He's been hit with 9 in total, including failing to file and pay at least $1.4 million in taxes.
Mr. President, any comment on the new charges against your son, Mr. President?
Hunter Biden is facing a maximum of 17 years jail if convicted. Russian President Vladimir Putin has set his sights on a 5th term in office. The 71-year-old told soldiers he plans to run again in next year's elections, saying now is the right time to make a decision. Putin is already the longest-serving Russian ruler since Joseph Stalin. When one of the world's most recognisable landmarks went up in flames in 2019, it was feared 850 years of history could be lost. But today, good news, French President Emmanuel Macron confirming Notredam is on track to reopen.
The French president had reason to feel on top of the world, getting a view from Paris that a few years ago many feared had been lost forever, from the just-installed new spire on top of the Notredam Cathedral. The crowning achievement in restoration work so far. When fire ravaged the 860-year-old landmark in 2019, the spire symbolised a loss that was felt around the world. While electrical fault is considered the likely culprit for the blaze, no definitive cause has been established and may never be. The embers were still smouldering when Macron vowed the cathedral would be rebuilt within 5 years, a timeline many were sceptical about. Now he says all is on track to have the public reopening a year from this weekend. It's a great image, he says, of hope of a France that can rebuild. During his visit, the French leader helped inscribe the name of the general who oversaw the reconstruction and passed away in August. And he announced a contest to replace 6 stained glass windows in the nave with more contemporary ones. The painstaking reconstruction work has to date cost over $1 billion. The speed and dedication to returning the icon to the heights of her former glory, inspiring. Brett McLeod, 9 News.
An Australian public hospital is the first in the country to offer new groundbreaking equipment to get amputees back on their feet. And it's all thanks to the generosity of strangers.
Wes Radish is living the dream. As a Noosa ferry skipper, he soaks up these views every working day. But it's been a challenge getting here. On the way to his interview for the job, he was involved in a serious motorbike accident.
38 days and 7 operations later, here I am with this.
Wes tried a couple of prosthetic legs but found them painful. Then he came to the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital, the only public hospital in Australia now using water pressure casting.
It's fantastic to be able to give patients that opportunity and see them back up on 2 legs and, engaging with their families again.
To make a prosthetic leg, a plaster cast of a patient's residual limb is made as a crucial first step to getting a good fit. Traditionally, clinicians use their hands to mould it, but the end result can be hit and miss.
So the main thing is it's uncomfortable and the patient doesn't want to wear it, but it can also cause skin breakdown, so they can have wounds on their leg if the pressure is not being distributed properly.
This groundbreaking cast tank is more accurate, using water pressure to distribute a more even force to get the fit just right.
I put it on and I could walk straight away, and it was the eureka moment. It was unbelievable, and I had faith again that I could do something. Get my life back.
The expensive casting equipment has been made possible thanks to the RBWH Foundation's gift of time appeal. Queenslanders are being urged to donate again this Christmas.
The Foundation and the community come together to fund really great and important research projects that make a difference that would not happen otherwise.
Wes couldn't be more grateful, able to reschedule the ferry interview he missed, landing the job.
It means everything to be able to be up and get mobile and go get on with life the way you were.
Olivana Lathouris, 9 News.
A man fronts court accused of a terrifying armed robbery in our southeastern suburbs. That's next. 2 kayakers step in to save a pair of seabirds, while fears are growing over the rising number of call-outs. Plus, the intruder dressed as a cowboy who committed a crime against wine. And later, the expert advice for every parent on how to keep the kids healthy these school holidays. A 34-year-old man from Willagee has fronted court accused of armed robbery after allegedly pulling out a knife, threatening a staff member and demanding cash. Police say a man entered a liquor store on Leach Highway in Melville before taking off with money. He was arrested at his home last night, where several items were seized. Fighting for life, impaled by fishing wire, 2 pelicans are now safe and well after a dramatic rescue in South Australia. Kayakers stepping in, rushing the pair for treatment, the latest in a string of call-outs to entrapped sea creatures.
Bound together beak to beak, 2 pelicans sharing a painful bond as they struggle for survival.
If no one had have attended to these pelicans or didn't even see them, they probably would have just died.
A group of kayakers on the Coorong stumbling across the pair after they'd washed up on shore, impaled by fishing hooks and wire, the group quickly rushing to their aid.
We're able to free the 2 pelicans, cut the line between the 2 of them and kayak them all the way back to Sugars Beach at the Murray Mouth, where we collected them.
Sugars Beach, inspiring names for the pair, now a male and female, called Sugar and Spice, rushed to the local vet on Thursday morning where they underwent treatment.
She was just a bit mortified with, how bad these injuries can be just from minor fishing line.
The incident, just one of hundreds charity wildlife welfare organisation has responded to just this year after animals became trapped and injured in fishing tackle entanglements. The advice to those who accidentally catch sea animals in their fishing wire is not to cut the wire. Instead, try gently restraining the animal and call in the experts. Those experts now helping Sugar and Spice on their road to recovery, as well as hoping for all things nice in their future. Kelly Hughes, 9 News.
Thousands of people have lined Dublin's streets to farewell Pogue's frontman Shane McGowan. The singer, best known for his song Fairy Tale of New York, died last week at 65. Celebrities including Nick Cave paid tribute, with Johnny Depp, who was best man at McGowan's wedding, acting as pallbearer. Police in the US are looking for a wine thief who robbed a family-run business while dressed as a cowboy. He was seen on CCTV entering with an employee code before destroying enough wine to make 21,000 bottles. Most of it was to be bottled for Christmas, leaving the owners more than $500,000 out of pocket. Hollywood heartthrob Ryan O'Neal is being remembered as a legend of the silver screen after his death at the age of 82. The Oscar nominee was best known for his breakout roles in the 1970s, while his personal life often stole the headlines.
Ryan O'Neal, a leading man and 70s icon. A fast-paced career and racy private life, Ryan O'Neal well known for his relationship with blonde bombshell Farrah Fawcett and at times estrangement from his children. The former Hollywood actor passed away on Friday. He was 82. His son Patrick sharing the sad news on social media. My father Ryan O'Neal has always been my hero. I looked up to him and he was always bigger than life. He is a Hollywood legend, full stop. Originally O'Neal trained to be a professional boxer. His big break coming in 1964 as Rodney Harrington in the television drama Peyton Place.
Come on, up in.
Best known for his Oscar-nominated performance in the romantic drama Love Story.
Jenny, I'm sorry.
Don't. Love means never having to say you're sorry.
From there, the roles kept coming. What's Up, Doc, opposite Barbara Streisand.
What's up, Doc?
Did you happen to know that I love you?
Yeah.
You did? Do?
Listen, kiddo, you can't fight a tidal wave.
The 1973 hit Paper Moon, alongside his daughter Tatum O'Neal.
Just have to keep on bearing, that's all.
Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon.
The horses made a clip-clop sound, and it hurt the dialogue in the carriage. So he had the crew pull the carriages along the highway.
Off-screen, an encounter with American actress Farrah Fawcett.
And there she was in the driveway. My God, she was breathtaking.
Really?
Who's that? He said, that's my wife.
O'Neal and Fawcett went on to have a long-term on-off relationship, who he dearly called his forever Valentine. He hit the headlines for his, at times, tumultuous relationship with his children.
Where were you, Dad? Where were you at that party? You were at the beach
In those
house.
days, I used to just put my head in the sand.
Diagnosed with leukemia in 2001 and prostate cancer 11 years later. O'Neal passed away surrounded by family and friends. Vicky Jardim, 9 News.
It's a painful and incurable condition affecting up to 10,000 Australian children, making juvenile arthritis one of the most common chronic childhood diseases. From this month, there's a new medication that's been listed on the PBS. The first oral medicine of its kind, the costs now slashed by thousands of dollars.
On a good day, Jacob Harley is the life of the playground. But at just 4.5 years old, his health goes up and down.
I'll meet you on the top.
I think the hardest thing is definitely seeing him in pain and worrying that he's not going to get the same chances as all the other children his age because of his arthritis.
About 3 years ago, he developed inflammation in his knee, which soon spread.
Pretty much all his joints were involved. They were red and swollen. He was in so much pain we couldn't get his clothes on and off, so he was just screaming and crying.
The diagnosis was juvenile arthritis.
It is a condition where effectively our body's own immune system decides to attack and to cause inflammation of our joints and sometimes other organ systems as well.
Juvenile arthritis is the most common chronic disease affecting Australian children, and it's painful. It limits their ability to play sport and just to play in the playground.
While there's no known cure, there are medications to help control the inflammation, most requiring regular injections. But Jacob has recently gained access to a new oral medicine via a special program.
Wow, that's made a huge difference to Jacob and to us, because having to inject him with 2 different needles every week was agonising.
And now it could make a difference to many other children too, because the drug tofacitinib has this month become widely available via the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme.
It seems to be very effective. It seems to be very good at switching off the inflammatory process and keeping it switched off.
The listing is expected to benefit more than 1,000 children, reducing the price of the drug from nearly $16,000 a year to a maximum of $30 a script. Jacob's mum hopes it will help make life easier for other parents struggling to give injectable medications and other children living with arthritis.
Giving our children the kind of life that every other child has and the opportunities that they have with not having pain and not being defined by their arthritis.
Fiona Willan, 9 News.
Still to come this Saturday, healthy holidays, expert tips on the habits to create this festive break, and the Aussie school giving students the option of a 4-day week. But Michael Stamp is here with sport. Now, Stampy, the Australian cricket team has landed in Perth.
They sure have, Tracy, and a star batter is urging Perth to support his teammates when the summer of cricket starts at Optus Stadium. Trav's talking, but it won't be to Mitch Johnson, hoping to turn the spotlight onto the pitch. A star Socceroo steals all the glory, and a photo finish for a hometown victory in the Northerly Stakes. Australia batter Travis Head is urging Perth to rally behind the team ahead of the opening test against Pakistan after former test bowler Mitchell Johnson criticised captain Pat Cummins and most recently David Warner. Head says he won't be clearing the air with the outspoken Quick.
Landing in Perth to the warmest reception.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's nice to get a couple of days at home and look forward to seeing the boys, and I think we'll have a good positive vibe, which is nice.
Travis Head rested and recovered from his World Cup heroics ahead of the first test starting at Optus Stadium on Thursday.
We've had good experiences here at Optus, still a new stadium, new wicket, but yeah, the times we've played there, we've had good success.
But Head won't be meeting with Mitchell Johnson after the former test bowler's stinging attack on David Warner's position in the side.
I don't think I'll have to sit down and chat with him, but a few might choose to do that. We'll see how that plays out.
Adamant the feud between the pair hasn't overshadowed the start of summer.
It's not a first test without headlines, and it's not a first test without the limelight or the light turning in a different direction.
Hoping WA rallies behind skipper Pat Cummins.
I'm looking forward to what I think is going to be a very positive week from the Perth crowd. Obviously, they're very passionate about their cricket. They're very passionate about Western Australia.
Teammates Alex Carey, Scott Boland and coach Andrew McDonald also arriving today, with Mitchell Starc echoing the informed batsman.
I think it's the fire still burns to keep winning trophies, keep winning series.
Wearing magenta today, Mitch Starc tomorrow swapping to the baggy green and diffusing suggestions Australia won't be challenged this summer.
It's going to be a spectacle. We're here to win games.
Pakistan's test preparations ending abruptly. The tour match against the Prime Minister's 11 called off after a freak storm blew the covers off overnight.
The pitch, as you've seen on the footage, is wet. The surrounding is wet.
Alexia Pesce, 9 News.
Australia's women's cricket team has ushered in a new era with Alyssa Healy officially unveiled as captain, the keeper replacing long-time skipper Meg Lanning after serving as acting captain for the past year.
The fact that I'm 33 and had a really, really long career and something still excites me in the game, I think I'm really privileged to stand here and say that. So whatever the challenges might bring over the next little period, I'm really excited for it.
The Aussies head off for their tour of India on Wednesday. Wildcats coach John Rillie has leapt to the defence of star guard Bryce Cotton after a shock loss to Illawarra. The three-time MVP was held to just 7 points, snapping Perth's winning streak at 6. He's the scoring machine who usually can't be slowed down.
Cotton, stepping back, vintage Bryce Cotton.
That was Bryce Cotton's only made field goal in last night's 18-point loss to the bottom of the ladder Hawks.
Everyone loves to get on Bryce when he doesn't score points, but he had 7 assists, 0 turnovers. It's unbelievable what some people think when they just shut one guy down for one night.
John Rillie taking over his own press conference after he wasn't asked about Ty Webster's absence.
I'll ask a question. Missing Ty Webster, was that important to you guys? Yes, I think having Ty Webster absent tonight was very key for our team. Thank you.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has opened up on the investigation into Australian guard Josh Giddey. The Thunder star continues to play despite claims he had an inappropriate relationship with a minor.
I can't think of many circumstances where we've suspended a player based on an allegation alone. Police opened up that investigation, notified us. We then take a back seat, and that's where things currently stand.
Back home, and Perth Glory's losing streak has extended to 4 games. Striker Adam Taggart feasting on a Melbourne City mistake.
Back pass is dangerous here, Taggart, it's a gift! Adam Taggart draws Perth Glory level!
But Socceroo Matthew Leckie a class above, sealing the 2-1 win. And a Millie Farrow hat-trick has guided our Women's Glory team to a 3-1 victory over Melbourne City in the top-of-the-table clash.
Back in the box now for Millie Farrow!
Young gun Oscar Piastri has capped off a stellar debut season in the F1. The 22-year-old Victorian awarded the Rookie of the Year at a lavish ceremony in Azerbaijan.
If we can start next year how we've finished this season, then we'll be in good shape. But yeah, it's been a massive team effort, big turnaround.
The McLaren driver finishing the year with 2 podiums and his first sprint race victory in Qatar. Australian world champion Scotty James has kicked off the half-pipe season in style, winning gold at the Snowboard World Cup in Beijing. The 29-year-old set the standard early with a spectacular first run, blitzing the field at last year's Olympic half-pipe venue. To horse racing, local father and son team Sean and Jake Casey have won their first Group 1 with Dom to Shoot taking out the Northerly Stakes at Ascot. Jared Noski riding the outside chance, claiming the $1.5 million race, edging out favourite Zaki in a breathtaking finish.
100 left to go. Dom to Shoot coming though. Dom to Shoot. McDonald lifting Zaki. Dom to Shoot lunging. They went to it. Nothing in it. Nothing in it whatsoever. It might be Dom to Shoot.
It definitely was. The Stakes was champion jockey Damien Oliver's final Group 1 event before bringing his glittering career to a close at next weekend's Gold Rush, named in his honour at Ascot. That's going to be a weekend to remember for Damien Oliver, Tracy. But the Australian cricket team, they will be training tomorrow at the WAC. It's going to be a big week of cricket here.
We'll see how it all plays out. Stampy, thank you. Next, look at Perth's top-selling suburbs in Nine's Property Watch and a food warning for parents ahead of the school holidays. Some Aussie high schools are edging closer to a 4-day week, with a Victorian college now giving senior students the option to leave early and study at home. The new flexible learning timetable in school is being rolled out next year.
For Year 12s at St Joseph's College in Geelong, the timetable's getting a trim.
For me, on a Monday, I can leave after 11 o'clock. I can head home and do my study from home. And on a Wednesday afternoon, I can also leave just after 1 o'clock.
There's the potential some students won't even need to attend on Wednesdays, working from home instead.
It's about consolidation and flipped learning, which they'll be able to access online. And for those students, they may have specific reasons why they work best at home.
The changes will suit Deputy Captains Kane and Jude.
I know some people find it pretty hard to study at school because they're with all their friends and they get distracted often. But having that study time at home can be, really helpful for other students to get things done on time.
Likewise, aspiring golfer Ted Sargent.
It gives me extra time to practice when I need to, and also outside of that when I've got
obligations.
The shake-up has come after 3 years of research, with staff reassuring they won't be skipping on curriculum.
A VCE unit requires 50 hours, so we make sure that we can accommodate the 50 hours.
While the real timetable test will take place next year, it's hoped the flexible schedules will prepare students for tertiary education, where they'll have to be even more self-motivated.
We do know that there are other schools who are doing similar kinds of things, but it's important for us that it be contextualised to suit this community.
Not everyone will take the early leave, though. There'll still be the option to stay.
It's nice and quiet in the library. You don't have to curl up in your bed at home. It keeps it a bit more, keeps you in the school vibe.
Madeline Spark, 9 News.
New research has revealed the extent to which children become unhealthier during the holidays. Parents encouraged to help their kids mimic the structure and healthy eating of term time once school is out.
The summer holidays are getting underway, and siblings Reese and Tessa can't wait.
The holidays are my favourite.
Freedom from the classroom, but also from all the rules. A new study by UniSA finding just how unhealthy the holidays can be.
We tracked 380 children across 2 years, and we basically found that children gain weight quite rapidly and lose fitness rapidly in the school holidays.
It doesn't surprise me that kids are putting on weight in the holidays. Everyone's going from a really structured routine to zero routine.
Mum Elsa knows how tricky these holidays in particular can be to balance.
As a busy mum, we've got so many things to do in the holidays. There's Christmas to get ready for, so it is hard to monitor what the kids are doing all the time.
Increased screen time, skipping breakfast and snacking, and reduced physical activity, the main contributing factors. The problem has been increasing over recent years. 1 in 4 Australian children now obese or overweight.
One of the most effective things that parents can do is be a great role model for their children. Look for opportunities to get out and go for a walk together, go for a bike ride together.
It's hard to get motivated sometimes, but I think that setting the initiative is really the only way to do it.
Even eating healthy meals in front of your children can influence their habits, as well as encouraging fun physical activities around the home.
Finding the balance in keeping them active and the downtime is about making it really fun. So having a break, doing something completely different from what they do at school all year.
April Cretan, 9 News.
Time now to take a look at Perth's property market. Sales activity and total number of listings decreased over the week. Rewa.com data shows 4,775 properties are up on the market and 1,025 are under offer or have been sold. Our top selling suburbs, East Perth, Rockingham, Scarborough and Armidale. At the top end of the market, this 4-bed, 2-bath family home opposite Gwellup's Secret Garden. A boutique build with master bedroom overlooking a pool and alfresco area sold for $1.75 million. In West Leederville, this 3-bed, 2-bath, double-storey home featuring a chef's kitchen and private backyard, selling this week for $1.57 million. Towards the lower end of the market, this 4-bed, 2-bath home in Lakelands, perfect for family gatherings, featuring a dedicated theatre room and expansive backyard, sold for $570,000. And finally, in Cannington, this 1-bedroom spacious apartment featuring an open-plan living area and dining, selling this week for $310,000. A windy end of the weekend. I'll have the full forecast after this break. There was a bit of wind about to start the weekend. It dropped down to 14 degrees this morning. The city reached 28 after 4 o'clock this afternoon. Right now it's sitting at 26.5. A look around the country tomorrow. Brisbane a top of 30, Sydney a shower or two, Canberra 29 degrees, Melbourne showers and 21, sunshine and 22 for Hobart, Adelaide becoming windy, possible storms for Darwin and 33. Back home, a mild southeasterly flow is driving away heat wave conditions for now. For our north, the Kimberley, possible storms for parts, Broome and Kununurra 37. Windy for some areas of the Pilbara, 38 for Port Hedland, sunny and 39 in Exmouth. Clear skies for the Goldfields, Kalgoorlie 25, the same further south, Bunbury 31, Margaret River 29, cooler for the Great Southern, Albany windy and 21 degrees. On the waters, winds easterly 15 to 25 knots, seas 1 to 1.5 metres on a 1 metre swell. For the city tomorrow, 15 overnight and heading for a top of 32 degrees. Winds could reach up to 45 kilometres per hour. Stronger in the hills, wind gusts could reach up to 70 kilometres per hour in the morning. But those winds should ease for the start of the working week. Monday, a top of 33, 32 for Tuesday, cooler for Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and back up to 30 on Saturday. And that's 9 News this Saturday. Thanks for your company. A Current Affair is next with Deb Knight. From the team, enjoy your evening and good night.